In this lesson, we're going to look at how to extract position data out of our world pass. So this is where we left off. Let's reveal this in the project and let's actually reveal it again. Let's duplicate this and call this data. Now let's remove these ones and let's start with this. So I've already imported all the data from our Cinema 4D file. I've done that, I think, in a previous lesson. So we have our baked render cam, and this is the scene without me scaling this up in After Effects. So this is the raw data coming from Cinema 4D. These are all the nulls that we created, but we're going to turn them off since we don't need them. And we're going to be using our world XYZ. So a really neat trick is to create a null here. Let's actually set this to shy layers. Let's create a null and let's add a fill effect. Let's switch this to 3D. Separate our dimensions, then at the same time open our fill. And if we really think about this, if we sample colors using this, we're going to get data out of this. So let's use expressions to link our X position to color. It's using the value 0 because this is an array. So if we go here, link it again, instead of having 0, let's do 1, which will equal Y, the Y-axis. And finally, let's do Z, sample that color again, and let's do number 2, which is going to be Z position. And if we remember what we did on the previous lessons, the y-axis is going to be inverted. So let's do times -1. Now, here's the fun part. If we take our fill and we start sampling colors here, we're going to get the exact position for our null. Let's scale this down so we can see it more clearly. Let's keep sampling values here. Let's look at our position and compare our position with the RGB values here. Very similar. Again, we're in floating point. So right now we're getting null data for all these objects in the scene. And again, because this is world position, it's only doing it to objects that don't have animation. It's going to take the world coordinates, not the object coordinates. But still pretty useful if you want to create nulls for certain elements, or if you, let's say you want to create a particular system around here, you can just sample this rather than having to go back into your 3D program, save out the nulls, and import them back into After Effects. One downside is that we're not going to get the correct orientation or the correct scale, but that's really easy to fix by just eyeballing all those things. The most important thing is getting the correct position. So then you guys can see that this is really easy to use. If we duplicate this, we can keep creating more nulls and another one here. Now, we could do the same thing for the world XYZ robot, but unfortunately, this was rendered from Maya using V-Ray, so the scale on the scenes are different. So in order to fix that, we would need to have the alembic that we have in Cinema 4D rendered along with this scene, all from C4D. Then we can start sampling colors from the robot to get position nulls. Now let's try the same thing. Let's label them yellow. Let's see what happens when we do the same thing using our object XYZ. Now let's change this to a green color and let's start sampling values. you will see that it's not going to match because all of these points are relative to the object, and it's neither going to track with the object. So that is a downside. This is only going to work with our world pass. Even if we try with our camera, it's still going to give us some weird results. So this is only going to work, like I said, with the world pass. But again, very neat trick in case you guys need to get nulls really quick. Again, at 32 bits, a 32-bit floating point. So this was a look at how to get position data out of our world position pass. We created a simple expression setup where we link our X, Y, and Z to a color and then get the values out of that.